Today, we're gonna summit Josephine Peak in the Angeles Forest. So, this is gonna be an 8-mile round trip hike, and here is the entrance. We're gonna go through the Colby Canyon Trail to reach the summit. So, the trail starts off pretty basic: trees, brush, your usual. And there are going to be some water and creek crossings on this trail. So right now the creek is actually pretty dry. There is some water, but not a whole lot. But we're going to make our way through this brush. So some portions of the hike are actually pretty well shaded. And of course we get the beautiful pines up on the mountains as we make our ascension up the mountain. And the trail is pretty overgrown, particularly at this point in the hike. But you can see all the vegetation and plant life as we make our way through this hike. And there's a nice little pool with little fish in there. And right here is going to be one of our switchbacks we're going to do. And down there you can see the canyon we just came up through, and there's some fencing along the path, as you can see, as we make our way up the trail. Of course, as you make your way up this hike, you're gonna see the San Gabriel mountain range. Right now we're currently below the clouds, and you can see the yucca plants as usual. So I decided to take my jacket off because it was actually getting pretty hot on this hike, because it is June, so even up in the mountains it's not that cold. And you can see the Angeles Crest Highway down there. And already you could see the clouds forming below the mountains. So that's going to be one of the big things about this hike, is the clouds, which is actually what I love about this hike. And another switchback. Of course, throughout this whole hike, you're just going to get amazing views of the Angeles Forest and the San Gabriel mountain range. And at this point, I could definitely feel my joints. And of course, there are warning signs to stay on the trail and not get off. And that disc up ahead is actually a sign that we're at the halfway point of the hike. And so right here is actually a flat portion. This is actually the other side of the mountain range, you could see. And so we're going to go straight down that way. That's the way we came up. Right there is actually the entrance to the Strawberry Peak. But we're going to go straight right there, and we're going to head to Josephine Peak. You could actually do both peaks in one hike, but I actually decided to save Strawberry Peak for another day, and there's actually another trail that will take you up there. But for now, we're going to focus on the Josephine Peak. And at this point, we're actually going to get some shade on this portion, and this portion of the hike is actually relatively flat compared to the portion of the hike I just came up through. And of course, you're going to get some shade, and there's a lot of trees right here on this portion of the hike. And this is actually a really great time to catch your breath on this hike, as it's flat. And of course, we're actually going to get these views of being up in the clouds. So down there is actually Switzer Falls trailhead down there, which is where I'm pointing to. And then the other side is Strawberry Peak. So you can see the road, the mountains, the clouds forming just above the lower mountain range. And right here is actually going to be a path that actually leads up to Josephine Peak, which is another trail that will take you up to it. But we actually came from the Colby Canyon Trail. And then there's an arrow which will help guide you along your way. And then, as you can see, the other side of the mountain range. And right here, it's pretty open, not a whole lot of shade. And that's actually the path we just came up through. So you can see it's pretty steep. The elevation gain is really starting to show, as you can see. And that's the road down there, and that's the reservoir. And I could definitely feel my joints, especially as we are getting close to the summit. And then there's a satellite tower right there, and we have arrived to Josephine Peak. You get amazing views of the mountain range from both sides. And you're going to see this little shelf right here. And we're going to go ahead and we'll check it out. We're going to put one rock right here, and we're going to come back and put another one in there pretty soon. And just take your time when you're up on this mountain and soak in these views while you're up here. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and place another rock in here. And in a little bit, I'm going to show you what's inside this shelf. So there's actually a notebook in here. You could put your name down. You could put a little note. So a lot of people just write in this thing and leave it here. And this is what's inside there. There's rocks, a duck, a chain, and some more rocks. And there it is, Josephine Peak. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.